They dumped concrete into my well, my private, fully permitted, expertly crafted well, like it was some hazardous dump threatening their pristine suburbia. At the heart of this madness stood Cassandra Vale, the HOA president, clutching her tablet with a smug grin, acting like she'd just saved the neighborhood from a rogue anarchist. She called it a critical safety measure. I called it an all-out war. And I don't lose wars, especially not to a control freak in designer athleisure. Let me take you back 6 months to unravel how this nightmare kicked off. I'd just moved to Willow Creek, a charming enclave of 50 homes tucked into the rolling hills of Boise, Idaho, in January 2025. I'd sold my tech consulting firm and bought a $900,000 house with cash, no mortgage, craving a quiet life to focus on my freelance engineering gigs. I'm a civil engineer, specializing in water systems for high-end resorts and estates. After years of corporate grind-dinless meetings, suffocating oversight, I went freelance. Best move ever. 6 figures, half the hours, designing systems that actually made a difference. My first project in Willow Creek? A well. Not just any well, but my masterpiece, a testament to sustainable engineering. It was cleaner than city water, with a sleek granite rim that shimmered in the daylight and LED lights casting a soft emerald glow at night. An app on my phone tracked pH, purity, everything, like a heartbeat for water. This well wasn't just a utility. It was my declaration of freedom, built with my own hands. Standing beside it, sipping the crispest water I'd ever tasted, I felt like I'd finally carved out my place in the world. Then Cassandra Vale knocked on my door. 3 days after the well was done, she showed up with a gourmet gift basket, her flawless makeup and curated outfit screaming, "I have too much time to judge you." She was 40, fresh off a messy divorce from a big-shot Seattle attorney, and had used her $2.8 million settlement to buy the priciest house in Willow Creek. What I didn't know then was that Cassandra thrived on control, a former socialite who'd lost her spotlight and now clung to her HOA throne like a lifeline. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she said, her smile sharp as a blade. "I'm Cassandra, your HOA president. I had to see this well everyone's buzzing about." She circled it, her curiosity souring into something like resentment. "You're an architect?" she asked, clearly impressed despite herself. "Civil engineer," I corrected, showing her the app's real-time water data. "This is 10 times purer than city water." I was excited to share, but her tone shifted. "In Willow Creek, we value unity, simplicity," she said, her voice icing over. "Harmony with the community." The way she stressed community set off alarms, but I brushed it off as quirky HOA zeal. The HOA meeting a week later was a trap. Held in a sterile community room, it felt like walking into a courtroom. Cassandra stood at the front, her tablet glowing, addressing 20 homeowners who wouldn't meet my eyes. "We've approved new community standards," she announced, listing 15 rules clearly aimed at my well, its lights, its rim, its existence. Each rule felt like a dagger wrapped in bureaucracy. I stood, voice steady. These rules weren't in place when I built my well. I followed all guidelines, got county permits. This feels targeted. Silence. An older man stared at his shoes. A young couple glued their eyes to their phones. Cassandra's smile widened, predatory. "We prioritize safety, Ethan. No one gets special treatment." The room grew colder as she dismissed my expertise, my data, my rights. I realized then, this wasn't about rules. It was about power. What followed was a relentless campaign of harassment. Daily violation notices arrived, each more absurd $75 for a towel on my porch, $100 for a planter 6 inches too close to my fence. Meanwhile, my neighbor's Christmas lights twinkled year-round, untouched. Cassandra was scouring my property with a ruler, ignoring identical infractions elsewhere. By week 3, I'd racked up $1,400 in fines. I called the HOA management company, but they deferred to Cassandra. I consulted a lawyer, but he backed out after a cryptic call from someone connected. Cassandra's influence, tied to her ex-husband's legal network, was a web I couldn't escape. Then my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Clara Hensley, slipped a note in my mailbox. "Be careful," she whispered. "Cassandra's planning to call your well a health hazard. She's got a scheme." The note warned of fake contamination claims. I dove into Idaho HOA laws and water contracts. learning that while HOAs wielded immense power, they had to act fairly. Cassandra's targeting was legally shaky if I could prove it. The breaking point came when I found a municipal water contract clause. Service could be suspended for false environmental reports. Cassandra's plan to frame my well as a hazard could backfire spectacularly. I just needed evidence. Then, one freezing February morning, I woke to the roar of machinery. 2 concrete trucks sat in my driveway, workers in hard hats circling my well, now draped in plastic with a danger contamination sign. Emergency remediation, the crew chief said, handing me papers citing groundwater risks. My hands shook as I read. "This is fake," I shouted. "My well's cleaner than your tap water." He shrugged. "HOA orders. County approved." I recorded everything as they pumped concrete into my well, 25 feet of my life's work buried in gray sludge. Cassandra strolled over, feigning sympathy. "Oh, Ethan, I'm so sorry. We couldn't risk the neighborhood's water." My rage boiled. "You faked this," I said, camera rolling. She smirked. "Paranoid, Ethan? Join civilized society and use city water." Her mask slipped, revealing raw contempt. That night, I pored over the footage, her words echoing. Civilized society. She thought she'd crushed me. But I'm an engineer. I understand systems are system. I found the contract's kill switch. One false report could halt water service community-wide. I needed her to admit her fraud. I texted her, proposing a peace talk at my place. She agreed instantly, eager to gloat. I rigged my patio with hidden cameras and mics, ready to catch her confession. The next day, she arrived in a breezy dress, wine bottle in hand, acting like we were pals. "I'm glad we're moving past this," she purred. I played along. "You really got me with that contamination angle. How'd you pull it off?" Her eyes gleamed. "Oh, Ethan, it's all about knowing the system. A $500 report from a friend who writes scary official stuff. Worth every cent." She laughed, sipping wine. "Your well made everyone feel inferior. I had to stop it before others got ideas." I had her. I sent the video to Boise's water department with a detailed complaint. Within 48 hours, Willow Creek's water was shut off. Panic calls flooded my phone, neighbors desperate for showers, coffee, basics. At the emergency HOA meeting, the room buzzed with fury. Cassandra tried to spin it as a mix-up, but I connected my laptop to a projector. "This is no mistake," I said, playing her confession. The room froze as her voice admitted to fraud, to targeting me to enforce conformity. Chaos erupted. "You lied," one neighbor yelled. "My kids couldn't bathe," another screamed. Mrs. Hensley stood, voice trembling. "You made us complicit in your vendetta." Cassandra's denials crumbled as I replayed the unedited footage. A vote to oust her passed 48-1. She sat, isolated, as her empire collapsed. I'd already contacted the water department, proving Cassandra acted alone. Service resumed within 24 hours after we disavowed her fraud. Cassandra faced investigations for filing false reports, potential criminal charges, and $18,000 in penalties for my well, plus community costs. She was forced to sell her house, shunned by neighbors and charities. I used the compensation to build a better well 30 feet deep, solar-powered, shared with neighbors. It became a community hub, surrounded by native plants and laughter, the opposite of Cassandra's sterile vision. Willow Creek transformed, embracing solar panels, gardens, and freedom. Property values soared, but the real win was our spirit unafraid, collaborative, alive. Cassandra's attacks made us stronger. Her attempt to crush my independence birthed a community that thrives on it. As I sat by the glowing well one summer night, stars above, I whispered, "Thanks, Cassandra. You showed us what freedom really means." What's the most outrageous thing an HOA has done to you? Should HOAs have this much power, or are they just legalized bullying? If you were me, would you have fought back or walked away? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories where justice hits hard.